tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon, all right? Can we do this whole bully camp?
10 specific WWE moments that killed kayfabe forever. Number 10, the Netflix premiere. Now, in the Triple H era of WWE, the game has been keen to push the idea that fans are fully aware that WWE is a scripted product. Insider terms are commonplace on WWE programming, and this has naturally led to a lot of fans taking issue with this. A lot of fans don't want to be made aware that the WWE is scripted every 5 seconds, and this is often compared to watching a movie and the director popping up every couple of scenes to remind the audience that everything happening is fictional. Now, some fans say that Triple H took this too far on the Raw and the Netflix premiere, as the opening video package saw Triple H using previously taboo terms such as babyface, heel, work, and shoot. The backlash to this was so severe that the game was forced to address this criticism on the post-show press conference. That was the intent, to capture the emotion and let people know we're not hiding what we do. I saw a lot of chatter today from people saying, oh my god, they said heel and face and shoot and work in one promo. We're not hiding what we do. That's what we do. To be honest, I think most of the world understands those terms and they've almost transcended our business. It's transcended our business. It is what it is. People know what we are. We talk about it. We're not insulting anybody's intelligence. We're an art form, absolutely an art form that captures people's emotions. We don't take ourselves as seriously as most other people take us. And these comments didn't exactly deter the negative emotions of the fans, and Triple H hasn't exactly doubled down on his beliefs in the months that have followed. Number 9, The Undertaker is going too far. For the most part, WWE expertly protected The Undertaker's image and character for 30 years. The lore and continuity of the dead man remained tight and somewhat consistent. That is with the exception of the year 1999, where WWE made some bizarre choices with the dead man's persona. During the infamous storyline which saw The Undertaker's Ministry of Darkness kidnap Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon would plead with The Undertaker, often using his real name. McMahon directly addressed the fact that The Undertaker had gone too far and gone beyond playing a fictional demonic character. The idea behind this was to push the idea that The Undertaker was this evil being that had now stepped beyond the walls of kayfabe, and he was no longer a fictional character. He had become something real. Fans often compared this to the Nightmare on Elm Street story New Nightmare, which saw Freddy become a real-life figure. It was an interesting approach to take, and while it did upset some, it was a unique angle that could have had a ton of potential if it was executed effectively. Number 8, Welcome to the Attitude Era. In 1997, WWE vastly changed their approach to pro wrestling. They would slowly usher in the Attitude Era, which was a meaner, grittier wrestling product, and this change in direction resulted in one of the most successful periods in their history. To usher in the era, Vince McMahon would address the audience directly and stated that the WWE product was going to be edgier moving forward, and even completely shattered the barriers of kayfabe. In his promo, McMahon would state that the WWE audience is smart enough to know that the product is scripted, and the archaic good guy versus bad guy formula no longer works. We in the WWF think that you, the audience, are quite frankly tired of having your intelligence insulted. We also think that you're tired of the same old simplistic theory of good guys versus bad guys. Surely the era of the superhero who urged you to say your prayers and take your vitamins is definitely passé. This could have massively backfired on WWE, but it was a risk that paid off. This promo would become synonymous with the respective era and is still commonly referenced almost 3 decades later. Number 7, the Wrestlemania 40 documentary. Now, it's well documented that WWE were forced to pivot when it came to Wrestlemania 40. The initial planned main event for Night 2 was The Rock vs Roman Reigns, however, due to substantial fan backlash, the plans were scrapped and Cody Rhodes would end up leaving Wrestlemania as WWE Champion. Whilst WWE breaking kayfabe during this time was common, they decided to shatter kayfabe entirely by releasing a feature-length documentary that exposed the inner workings of the booking of WrestleMania. Whilst the documentary was popular, it was seen too far by many traditional fans, and even Rhodes himself had this to say during an interview with Chris Van Vliet. Well, with the behind-the-scenes documentary, that's really as far as I think you should ever go. Not because I don't want people to know, but the legend is supposed to be cooler than the fact. So watching the documentary the other night, I feel like people have all these questions and there's kind of these different outlooks and takes, and I like that more than someone definitely saying, no, here's actually what happened. Plus, I like that The Rock, Roman, me, and Seth and Triple H all look like we were involved in a bank heist, but we have different stories where we got caught by the cops. The WWE have been obsessed with this style of kayfabe shattering documentary since WrestleMania 40, and are even set to release a WWE Unreal series which will once again look at the inner workings of the WWE creative team. Number 6, the Bob Backland Promo. Now in the mid-90s, it was seen as taboo to use a wrestler's real name in a promo. However, this clearly didn't apply to Bob Backland, as Backland cut one of the first shoot promos in WWE history. Following Diesel's shocking upset over Backland to capture the WWE title in late 1994, he would cut a promo on Raw where he completely ignored the fact that Diesel was called, well, Diesel. Backland would call Diesel Kevin Nash several times during his promo and even stated that Nash was like a Neanderthal. This was one of the first times ever that a wrestler's real-life name was used in a promo, and based on the reaction from the crowd, they were confused, as it was likely that 99% of them had zero idea that Kevin Nash was in fact Diesel's real name. Number 5. The COVID-19 Era. During the COVID-19 pandemic, when Raw and SmackDown were presented at the WWE Performance Center, they allowed their talent to stop wrestling altogether during the commercial breaks. This was smart, as due to no crowd being in attendance, it made a lack of sense for them to be wrestling at all. However, footage of the wrestlers taking a break during the commercials leaked online. The footage saw Sasha Banks, Bayley, Alexa Bliss, and Nikki Cross taking a break during a tag match. Fans could actually see the 4 women talking about the match, and it completely shattered kayfabe. Number 4. The Elimination Chamber Press Conference. WWE introduced the post-PLE press conference a number of years ago, and there's still a lot of confusion as to what the press conference is supposed to be. Some wrestlers deliver their interviews in full character, while some wrestlers completely shatter kayfabe and fully address the inner workings of WWE. It makes a lack of sense and has definitely led to a disconnect when it comes to those fans who want to fully let their imaginations go when watching WWE. One of the names who is insistent on breaking kayfabe every 5 seconds is The Rock. Following arguably the most shocking heel turn in WWE history, that being John Cena turning heel at the Chamber event, The Rock would appear on the press conference, and literally just minutes after the turn, The Rock decided to snap fans out of the illusion. Toronto is generally a heel town. It was certainly a heel town with me and Hogan at WrestleMania 18. When you go into something like this, the crowd is waiting and they know something is going to happen. What's going to happen? Tonight, the crowd didn't know what was going to happen, but they knew something was going to happen and they were feeling it. The moment John hugged Cody and they looked at me and I did the throat slash, the whole place erupted. That moment is what we work for. It's bigger than a promo or words or a storyline or a television show or broadcast numbers. The Rock was heavily criticized by fans for these comments, and a lot of fans collectively wondered what was the point. What is the benefit of shattering kayfabe? It doesn't increase ratings or interest in the product. WWE are doing it for the sake of it, and it's almost as if they're embarrassed to be a scripted medium. Number 3. Katy Vic. The 2002 storyline between Kane and Triple H was met with widespread disdain from fans. The storyline was a horrendous idea, not just because of the content, but also because it shattered the established lore of Kane and disintegrated kayfabe in the process. During the feud between the two, the game revealed that he knew a secret about Kane. Triple H would reveal that before Kane was in WWE, he was having a relationship with a woman named Katy Vic. Triple H then claimed that Kane and Vic were involved in a car accident, and after Vic passed away, Kane proceeded to perform an inappropriate act on the woman. This was such a confusing storyline. Were we meant to believe as an audience that Kane had a girlfriend? Kane had the ability to drive? Kane wasn't this traumatized individual that was determined to destroy everything in sight? Or whilst kayfabe was already pretty much dead for a lot of fans at this point, it was disappointing to see the WWE surrender any ounce of lore and integrity to the Kane backstory. Number 2. It's an angle. The Raw after WrestleMania 26 heavily focused on the retirement of Shawn Michaels. One of the key promos on the show saw HBK's real-life best friend Triple H cut a passionate, emotional promo celebrating the legacy of Mr. WrestleMania. WWE quickly turned this into an angle as they had Sheamus brutally attack the game with a lead pipe. It was presented as this game-changing attack that could potentially take Triple H out of action for the foreseeable future. Despite the seriousness of the angle, WWE decided to completely ignore kayfabe and they decided to have Triple H embrace HBK at the end of the show. This was WWE basically telling the audience that the intense angle was completely fictional and Triple H was completely fine. And number 1. Montreal Screw Job. There's 2 specific incidents of the 90s that annihilated kayfabe forever. The first was the infamous curtain call, and whilst this incident definitely led to a lot of fans discovering the truth behind pro wrestling, it could have been argued that the 97 Montreal Screw Job made a wider impact in the grand scheme of things. The Survivor Series 97 saw kayfabe disintegrate as Vince McMahon legitimately screwed Bret Hart out of the WWE title just before he was leaving for WCW. The reason why the Screw Job went down was because Hart refused to drop the title to Shawn Michaels in Canada. McMahon was concerned that Hart was going to take the title and show up with the title on WCW programming, so he believed he had no choice but to break kayfabe and deliver a shoot match finish. McMahon would call for the bell when HBK locked in the sharpshooter, and what followed was total bedlam and pandemonium, as the owner of the WWE had decided to pull the curtain back like never before. But there you have it, folks, 10 specific moments that killed kayfabe forever in WWE. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.